is going to be my new Abyss Actor deck profile. I just recently went to the Las Vegas Regionals and actually got 20th place with this deck profile. I lost 2 games to Eldritch and Sky Striker, which back row decks are pretty much the weakness of this deck. So Eldritch was a really hard matchup that I lost. The Sky Striker game, I could have won, but it was a very close matchup. But those are my losses to just double back row decks. This deck doesn't have any main deck back row hate. You have some in the side deck, but if they game 1 get that advantage with that back row setup, then it's pretty hard for you to come back. But that's what happened during the tournament, and my score was 1 tie versus Dragon Link in time. There wasn't enough time to just finish the game out, and then 2 losses to Eldritch Sky Striker. So first off, I run triple Mellow Madonna. Mellow Madonna is the searcher of the deck. On the scale, you pay 1,000. The search Abyss Actor locks you to Abyss Actor Pendulums, and when she's a monster, when you use a script, she specials 1 from your deck. That comes up in a lot of different combos. Superstar, not once per turn on either of the effects. Pendulum effect, tribute a card to get a script from your grave and add it to your hand, and its pendulum effect is to set a script from your deck. You run triple Wild Hopes. Wild Hope is a spell effect. He makes any other scale a 9, which is really nice for completing your scale. Also, when he dies, he searches any Abyss Actor card from your deck. Sometimes your opponent will kill him because they don't want you to make your other scale a 9, but then he gets to search it out anyway. So he's really good. He's a really good card to be on your scale, because if they have some type of double back row pop for your scales or something like that, Wild Hope just replaces himself, which is nice. Curtain Raiser, on the scale, you can, if you control no cards once per duel, special summon him, and his best effect in Abyss Actors is you can send 1 script from your deck as cost and add any Abyss Actor monster from your extra deck back to your hand. There are a lot of really important combos to know with Curtain Raiser to do just a link climb. If you special Curtain Raiser, normal summon an Abyss Actor, go into Hyper Director, then you can add that Abyss Actor back that you use to make Hyper Director to your hand, then go Curtain Raiser and Hyper Director into a 2-link. You kind of just like +1 advantaged when you're talking about linking up, because your Hyper Director counts for a card, you go for a 2-link, but you get that other card back to your hand, which is nice. Now for this meta, I decided to go with triple Sassy Rookie. I wasn't always running triple Sassy Rookie in every single one of my builds, but because Prank Kids is so good, and because DP is in like basically every deck, and decks like Swords will have destruction type effects. Sassy Rookie's scale effect is if an Abyss Actor monster or monsters would be destroyed, you can destroy this card instead. So that is really crazy for protecting your plays. He is just protects any number of Abyss Actor monsters, even something that destroys all of them like a Raigeki, he will protect them all. His monster effect is when he's destroyed from the spell and trap card zone, he destroys a 4 or lower monster on the field. This comes up sometimes when your opponent has something like a barrier statue. If you can pop your own Sassy Rookie on the scale, you can just snipe the barrier statue with this, which is nice. Its other monster effect is it has to be destroyed 2 times per turn. So its first time it protects himself, and the second time it will die from battle or card effect. And when he dies, he specials a monster from an Abyss Actor 4 or lower from the deck. He is not once per turn on the special summon, he's not once per turn on the protection. So if you have multiple Sassy Rookies, if you're trying to defend, they each have to be killed twice and they each special from the deck. When you're going defensive mode like that, you will summon like a Wild Hope from your deck in defense, and they kill Wild Hope, and Wild Hope will search you a card. And then that's also why I run 1 Leading Lady. Leading Lady, her pendulum effect doesn't come up that often because she's not in the scale, but her monster effect is when she's destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect, she'll set 1 script from your deck to the field. So when you're being defensive and you have some Sassy Rookies on the field, you summon a Wild Hope, summon a Leading Lady, you get a monster and you get a script for next turn to hopefully play through your opponent's stuff. Its other effect is when either player takes battle damage while she's on the field, she can target 1 monster and lower its attack by the battle damage that was taken. Here is kind of the core monster of the deck is Comic Relief. Comic Relief is really insane, and it's really hard to play around Comic Relief if your opponent doesn't have any spell, negates, or destructions. What he does is you target one Abyss Actor monster and one card your opponent controls, and you permanently swap control of them. Then he destroys himself off the scale. This is a hard once per turn. But that is going to be a lot of the times you're going to take your opponent's negates or take your opponent's just like really big lingering effects like Winda, and you can just steal it for yourself. You can take barrier statues, etc., which it's not that useful versus, Thunder, but you could take it if you wanted. You just to take whatever their main monster is. Its monster effect is when it switches control. This is not once per turn. The owner of the card, which is you, gets to destroy one set script. And the scripts are the gimmick of the deck that when they are popped, they all do something pretty insane. Extras. Extras is basically the best opener for the deck. What Extras is he's a curtain raiser, but he's for going second. So if your opponent controls a monster, you can spell summon him off your scale. As a monster, you can tribute him as cost and set your scale with any card from the deck, and it locks you into Abyss Actors. He's really good because he's a free special for combos. He's basically any Abyss Actor on the scale because he just tributes himself. And he is a 1-star special, which will come up when we talk about the extra deck. Then I run one Funky Comedian. Funky Comedian always comes up. If you're not running him in this deck, you gotta. His pendulum effect comes up sometimes. You tribute a monster to target another monster on your field, Abyss Actor monster, and it gains that much attack till the end of the turn. So it's for beating over very beefy guys. When Funky Comedian is normal or special summon, he gets 300 attack per Abyss Actor on the field. His other effect is Funky Comedian can pass on his current attack to another Abyss Actor monster till the end of the turn, but Funky Comedian himself cannot attack. So that includes his own 300. So say you have like 3 Abyss Actor monsters on the field, you summon Funky Comedian. That's 4 because he counts himself. Then he buffs himself by 12k, by 1,200, and then he'll go to 1,500. He can then pass that 1,500 attack buff on to someone else. He can pass on any buff he receives. So if there's a Wee Witch on the field, he's getting that 500 buff from the Wee Witch. He'll also pass that 500 buff from the Wee Witch to someone else. So he's like a 2k buff, which is really nice. So those are all the monsters. I don't think it's incorrect to play Twinkle or Evil Heal, but I am running a more condensed list. Those are both very good cards. This for my version, I don't run them, but they're not bad cards. Okay, going on to the spells, let's talk about the scripts first. So basically, all the scripts have the effect of when they're destroyed by your opponent's card effect, aka Comic Relief because he's your opponent's card when he switches sides, you get to do something if you have a face-up Pendulum Abyss Actor monster in your extra deck. Rise of the Abyss King. You run 3 of this because you actually want to open it. It is really nutty just to have in your hand. What it does is when you activate it, you get to pop cards on the field up to the face-up cards, which is a sad thing. If this popped any card, this deck would have no problem with back row, but it only pops face-up. Pop any number of face-up cards up to the number of attack-resistant Abyss Actor monsters you control. You can pop your own things, your Wild Hope, and some other stuff which we'll talk about. That's not once per turn, so if you use it, you have another one, or if you cycle it back through through Superstars effect, you can use it multiple times. Its effect when it's popped is it searches 2 cards from your deck to your hand. Scripts and Abyss Actors, you just have to have 2 unique names. You can search double scripts, double monster, script monster. It can even search itself. And both of its effects are not once per turn, so if you manage to pop it twice in one turn, you get to use it again to search. The next spell I run is Abyss Tainment. This is all of the Abyss scripts that I run for the deck. What Abyss Tainment does is it's a continuous spell. You contribute a monster twice per turn to get a script back from your graveyard, so it's really good for cycling the kings. And when this is popped, this is the main combo of the deck. You special summon any number of Abyss Actor monsters from your main deck to your field. That effect is also not once per turn. So if you can manage to pop this twice, you can bait out an Ash, and then you can go for the real one. So sometimes when I'm battling decks where I know they have an Ash or a Nib or something like that, I'll go for a combo, use one Abyss Tainment. It's This doesn't happen all the time because it's kind of hard to set this up. They'll ash it or they'll nib me, and then you can go for a second Abyss Tainment and summon again. Now that's a situational combo that you just have to know when you could go for it into certain matchups. There are other scripts that you can play. The one that I did miss during the tournament that I normally run is Romantic Terror. What Romantic Terror does is you can bounce one Abyss Actor monster on your field to your hand and special one Abyss Actor from your extra deck. It's just really good for going second if you can't kill them and you can't set up a good board for the fence. You mill the Romantic Terror, you get a Madonna on your field, and then you could use the script to chain Madonna to get the Wild Hope, then bounce the card back to your hand, special one from your extra deck. That's a really good combo. But I just wanted a 40 card deck and I didn't know what else to cut, so I just took it out. I run one Fantastic Theater. Fantastic Theater is really insane. If this deck had a way to search Fantastic Theater, this deck would be broken. What this does, it is a monster negate. The first monster effect your opponent uses this turn while you control a Pendulum Summon Abyss Actor monster becomes destroy one set spell or trap card. AKA the Abyss Tainment, and then it's a monster negate into summon 5, and you summon 3 Sassy Rookies. If they don't have a Zeus, they are not getting through that board. The other effect of Fantastic Theater is really nice, is if you have a script in your hand, you can reveal a script and you can reveal an Abyss Actor monster, and you can get the other script from your deck. So if you got one, you get to search the other, and for a lot of the games, you do want to have both scripts. I only run one because I run a terraforming and a set rotation. That way I don't have to run more than one. I was thinking of running 2 just to try it out. But I think 1 is good enough if you're running a set rotation and terraforming. If you're not running a set rotation, I would run the 2 Playhouse because Playhouse is so important for this deck sometimes. You don't need it every game, but the games you get it, it's very impactful. Now, my other field spell I run is Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine has a lot of uses in this deck, and whenever I show someone this deck profile, they just think I'm just this Mine deck. While it is true, you can stay under Mine, and what you do under Mine to set up for the kill is you just keep killing your own monsters with Rise of the Abyss King, and you set up to go for the kill. Extras, tributes as cost, help you set up your scale. You can pop your Wild Hope searches, just set up for a turn. You can do that if you need to. What I use Mystic Mine for is to dodge all hand traps, and it's my Dark Ruler, but I can still kill them. So instead of running Dark Ruler, I run Mystic Mine because if I activate a Mystic Mine, it either forces a spell negate or it just hits. And then if it hits, they can't use their monster effects in their hand or the field, so this basically just stops all hand traps. The only hand trap this deck really struggles versus is Nib, so this does not help versus Nib. If they got the Nib, it's a little bit unfortunate for you, so there are some combo routes you can play to play around Nib. That just means do not use extra special summon effect because you need it. If they Nib, you need to special summon extras, and then you need to do the combo. But that is all just depend on what they have. So what you do is you activate Mystic Mine, you do your full combo, and then you Pendulum Summon. And then while you Pendulum Summon, you either kill Mystic Mine with your other field spell, or you just activate Abyss King, kill your opponent's entire field, and then just pop your Mine for free, and then just one-shot them. So Mystic Mine is really nice because it's that card that can help stall, but in the tournament, I use it to stall twice. Every other time I've used this card, I pop at the same turn I use it and I kill them. This is a blind going second deck, so game 1 you go second, game 2 you go second. Because extras is so good going second, you run the mines and things like that. So because we are a blind going second deck, I run 3 triple tax, which is nice. A lot of times you can, if they have a spell negate, You activate mine, they negate it. You can activate triple tax to steal a monster if you have like 2 triple tax in your hand. That's why I don't mind running 3. They will have to negate it with Griffin, and then you can triple tax look at their hand to see what you're working with, or triple tax draw 2 if your hand's really messed up. So drawing 2 triple tax is not really bad, because going second, they're most likely going to negate the triple tax if they have a monster on the field and you use triple tax take. Then lastly, I have 2 droplets. I was debating a long time if I want droplets in the second, but going second droplets is too crazy just to respond to your opponent's card effect. And Hyperdirector, a weakness of him is being impermed, because Mystic Mine doesn't protect you from imperm. So you can droplets away your Hyperdirector so that your effect goes off, which is pretty nice. And lastly, I run 1 Pot of Desires. A lot of other builds for Abyss Actors run Extravagance. I like Extravagance. I just like Pot of Desires because I like to determine when I use the draw. And if you see my deck, there's not really that much room to put in like draw cards and things like that, because I need very heavy cards to win. If I'm blind going second versus every deck, I need to have strong cards in my opening. So that's actually why I cut Romantic Terror. I like it, but drawing it sometimes is not better than drawing a Droplets. It's not better than drawing an Abyss Actor. It's not better than drawing the other scripts or any of other card in my deck. So I just never want to draw it. And if I'm blind going second, I can't risk having 1 card in my hand just not be useful. So that's all the monsters and spells. Going on to the extra deck, the only real one that matters is Hyperdirector. I obviously ran the other English one in the tourney. Hyperdirector effect, he targets a card on your scale and special summons it, locks you into Abyss Actors, and replaces it with a different Abyss Actor from your deck. This means that Abyss Actors are a 2-card combo deck. That's just what it is. Any 2 Abyss Actors give you Hyperdirector, you pull up whatever one you place on your scale, you get Madonna. That means in order to win, you have to get through their board and have at least 2 cards left. And if you have 2 cards left, you can do your combo. Specifically, there are some 2 cards that are better than other 2 cards that you can get further on in your combo, but any 2 Abyss Actors is just like a blanket combo, which is nice. So he's definitely the best card in the deck for the side deck. Then 1 Relinquish Enema, because we run that 1 star special summon. A lot of people weren't expecting him. This just went off in a lot of games, forced the Griffin negate. They just were sad that they didn't play around it, but it's nice. Just force a negate for free. You special summon extras, you get Enema, you try to take the Griffin, they negate with Griffin, use triple tax, look at their hands, see what you're working with, and then you move on. Geotransverser is another way to switch your Comic Relief to the other side of the field. That way you can pop your Abyss-tainment or Rise. Wee Witch is nice. She buffs all darks by 500, so she is really insane. She buffs herself, so she just does a lot of damage. When she's destroyed, she gets you a dark monster from your grave back to your hand. A lot of times, that's Hyperdirector. In 1 game in the tournament, I used 4 Hyperdirectors in 1 turn because they killed my Wee Witch, and then I just got to get my 4th Hyperdirector, which thank goodness, because I needed it. IP Masquerena. I didn't go into this all too often because I'm going second, but I have it in here because just if you're link climbing up, sometimes it's nice to make this as a generic 2-link, that when you make your bigger 4 links like access code, it just has the effect of can't be killed by card effect. This did not come up that often, but if it came, it's good to have because if you make it, it's nice. Run 1 Gloomy because everyone's running darks. What's really nice, since you run so many spellcaster 2-links like this and Wee Witch, you can go into Celine. I have no spellcasters, but it's just for the triple down pointer. Triple down pointer pen summon is really crazy. If you special summon Curtain Raiser, special summon extras, normal summon, go into a 2-link, and then go into Celine, and then pen summon all 3 out, it's pretty good. From my 4 links, I went Appaloosa. Appaloosa, I use... I didn't use it all too often. I used it like 1 or 2 games. I made it because I just needed protection so that I can do my combo. I have the access code talker. You have the goddess. And then I run 3 XCs. I run Dark Rebellion. What he does is he's 2 Dark Pendulums. When he attacks a monster, he turns their attack to 0 and gains their attack. So he's just really essential for getting over a lot of big things if you need it. That can't be destroyed by card effect. you got your Dark Rebellion here. Tornado Dragon just for back row removal, and then you go number 41. If you Curtain Raiser, normal summon a 4-link, go into that, and then you have an extra to extend to get Hybrid Director. It's pretty good because your opponent can't do anything. Sometimes if you go first, if you have a lucky hand, because this deck's going first hands are pretty not that good. You can go IP and then make a Sleepy under it, and then go Hyper Director, so you can have 3 Negate Appaloosa protected by this card. That works out sometimes. It just depends on your opponent's deck. So my game plan is going second game 1, game 2. Game 1, you kind of just win going second because they're just not ready for the Mystic Mine. They're not ready for you to just one-shot them. They Scythe Block you. If someone Scythe Blocks you and has only a 1 negate Griffin with like an Ash in their hand, you will just blow them up. They won't stand a chance against your deck because you just have too much stuff going on. But then after that, my third game, I like to blind go first. Let me show you my side deck. My side deck for back row, Lightning Storms and Duster. But then I run triple D Barrier, triple Summon Limit, triple Gozen, and double Judgment. My game 3, I go first on game 3, and I slide all this in. Sometimes some of these cards don't hit. Like if D Barrier doesn't hit, or if maybe Gozen Match doesn't hit, normally I slide all of these in, and they work for a lot of decks. But if for some reason one of them does not work, I do sometimes like to leave this package in my deck going first, Playhouse, Terraforming Set, Rotation, Mine, just so that I can have Playhouse going first. Like if for some reason D-Barrier didn't work, I wouldn't slide to D-Barriers, and then I would just keep these in my deck. Normally I slide out like Funky Comedian, 2 Rise of the Abyss Kings, Abysstainment, things that you're not going to really need going first. The best part about keeping this in is all these cards except for Solemn Judgment kind of synergize with Fantastic Theater. This has to kill a set spell or trap card. So Fantastic Theater, their effect goes through the Puppet, then you just flip your summon limit to protect it, or you do D-Barrier, and then it's not going to interfere with any of this. If you draw Judgment and Theater, sometimes unlucky because you got to pick which one you prefer to go to, or you prefer to have. I'd prefer to have the Judgment, so I would just keep the Theater in my hand for the following turn. But yeah, that's it. That is my deck profile. I did that every game. I just went third, went first, and you flip Gozen Match, you just win. What's also really nice is when I go first, I don't slide out the triple tax. What I do is I do a mini Abyss Actor combo, and if they stop me, then I get to draw 2, and hopefully I can draw into those stun cards. But that is Abyss Actors. It is a very slept on deck. I got 20th in the regionals. I definitely think I could have went further. I just got unlucky and I fought versus Eldritch. Skystrikers is a semi-bad matchup. It just depends on the variant of Skystriker. The Skystriker individual that I was fighting was DPE Skystriker, and he drew Fusion Destiny every single game, which was pretty hard to play versus when he just has back row set up and his Fusion Destiny. He was also a Mystic Mine going second deck, so I had to play a little bit differently. So I had to slide out my Mystic Mines and put in my back row. And sometimes if he forces you first and you have the Lightning Storm and there's some cards on your field already, it's just kind of, you know. So that's why I was kind of thinking of taking Lightning Storms out for just in favor of Twin Twister. But that situation doesn't come up enough that I think Lightning Storm is a card I should take out, because I do like it. But that's it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. To play this deck, this is not a deck you just pick up and play. You need to know all the combos. There's like a lot of combos to go to. And when you're playing, it's not like other decks where it's like, oh, I'm in this position, let's do a combo. You're going second. Every single card in your hand you have to play effectively versus your opponent's board. There's no like specific combo you're going for with this deck. It's just whatever is happening at the moment on the board. This deck has a lot of versatility to just change up its playstyle and just like go different routes. So that's why this is really good. If you want to play this deck, I would suggest going on YouTube and looking up combo videos. I'll probably post a combo video later on But those combos, they come up, but a lot of the times I'm just actually just hard using effects in order to just like get somewhere. There's no specific, like every single game I did this combo. It just doesn't work like that for this deck. It's kind of like how DDDs is. There's no specific DDD combo. There's like one major DDD combo that you can always go for, just like this deck. There's one combo you can always go for, but there's like a million mini combos that you should always be aware of in a game. Okay, but that is it for the deck profile.